Let's do the astrology for July 21st, 2024. I am sure many of you were feeling the coming of the full moon last night. I know I was. Wowza. The power of the sun reflecting off the moon began illuminating many things from our deep subconscious and was very intense and for many disturbing. I found the animals were on high alert and they just could not seem to relax or stay put in bed. They were antsy and anxious, thus waking me up and forcing me to go out into the full moon multiple times last night. I call it moon bathing. Clearly, they needed to be out in that light and me with them. Today, early in the morning, the moon is full, and as it is in the sign of Capricorn, it has a serious tone as we are confronting the patterns inside our DNA and how they are resisting the shifts and changes that are now being required of us. As this full moon comes with the Mars-Uranus conjunction just beginning to separate, and with Pluto backing up in Aquarius, eventually leaving this sign and going back for one final hit into Capricorn from September 1st through November 19th. And with us being in the last degree of Cancer, there is a distinct energy of high drama and discomfort mounting. This is the moment that I seek answers internally through deep meditation, using the tools of my many excursions into Buddhism, rebirthing, and Kundalini Yoga, as well as other metaphysical tools, to shift my karmic tone and tenure towards a better place, to be in this life more fully, and to move past the karma that remains. This full moon makes us look at money, career, and what types of focus we need to do to access the higher potential in our dreams. Our human self holds many past life patterns that may not help us in that journey, but right now there is a new sense of urgency. We are becoming more present in this moment, and we are letting go of much of our innocence and naivete. These lessons currently are not being right, but about doing what is right. Doing what is right in the face of such massive levels of disinformation and brainwashing requires us to let go of thoughts and go deep into our core and ask the bigger questions. There are always those souls that want to belong. Then there are those souls that want to walk the path of their own choosing. And there are souls that recognize that every step in this life must be to support the greater good rather than the ego, the self, or their need to belong. So often people want to know their purpose. In the larger sense, everyone's purpose is to break through the karma that we are carrying and begin to recognize if our choices are creating more karma or lessening that karmic load. With this astrology today, and with Venus playing nicely with Jupiter, there is a newfound generosity that comes from connecting deep with others. It is through relationships that we grow the most. Relationships reflect to us those uncomfortable places where we have not yet healed certain things. The root of love's expression is the willingness to cooperate and work together for a greater good. As this astrology continues to unfold, it is clear that we are hungry for a world of tolerance, caring, generosity, and acceptance. Everything else is a distraction by egos wanting to control the masses. It is by inspiring optimism in ourselves that we can finally come to a place of truth and a strong spiritual center. Only by example can we move others off the paths that lead to only more misery and suffering. We cannot help others get out of the mud by being in the mud with them. We have to show the way forward through living and being an example of the human potential. For the moment, we are moving into a place of more tolerance with Neptune trining the sun. There is a small window of grace that can give us greater insight and intuitive knowing if we are willing to give from our heart and soul. For the moment, we need to not worry about chasing after that almighty dollar and instead recognize what matters is going to be embodying a new perspective, one that will allow us to see the wonder and magic in our diversity. However, there is a Uranus-Mercury square that just wants to drag some of their temperamental nature and spew old conversations filled with toxic thoughts that only confuse with the intention to conflate. This is a tricky moment because we can get great ideas with this astrological pattern, but we cannot really make much headway. Things will come together, but they will take time to do it. This can lead to people feeling confused, irritable, Focus is an ongoing problem, so you might want to take those mental herbs to keep your mind engaged constructively. I expect certain people to be quite mean-spirited and lash out at those that do not deserve it. Do not tolerate such behavior from those in your immediate environment. We have to point out dysfunction in order to encourage new ways to have discourse. If we can learn to work with these powerful energies that are in play with the Pluto-Mars trine, we can be willing to explore many alternatives that can move us past this looping stuckness and into some very new perspectives. Do not fear challenge. It is there to show you where you are stuck and frozen still in fear. Do not lament living in such times, as you are here to help others find a new way. Do not worry about the future, because a future is never a guarantee in this reality. Live fully in this moment, and you will discover that much can be accomplished if you bring your total awareness into the here and now. There is much that you do not need to carry around anymore. Notice those burdens and decide to put them down. The old self is shattering and flaking off. What is underneath is what you are attempting to embrace and embody. And that is really all that matters in the long run.